I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recognition of guests. Anybody want to address council tonight? No one? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the council minutes of January 7th?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion pass. Item 3, payment of bills. Motion to pay the bills. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to accept the fiscal officer's financial reports.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No old business. I'll move to new business. In case you wonder what's wrong with Mr. Bittner,
Yeah, I've been wondering that for a while.
We don't have that much time.
he.
Come on, that was good.
I'm just gonna sit back and let it roll here. He has interest in the slope project as a homeowner. So he's excusing himself wherever anything comes up on the slope. Item 1, resolution 2025-5, a resolution authorizing mayor to contract for the right-of-way acquisition services. Can I have a motion to suspend? All those in favor?
Second.
I'll second that.
I didn't get a second, huh? Too slow. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See, Bill, nothing's changed.
That's right.
Can I have a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 2, resolution 2025-6, a resolution authorizing application for OPWC for additional funding for the Greenwich Road slope project. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
What was the dollar amount on that one?
On the grant.
Yeah.
Last year we asked for, I think, 212 or something like that. We were declined. This year we're asking for 150.
Item 3, resolution 2025-7, a resolution authorizing transfer of $50,000 from general fund to the street fund. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt?
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 4 is simply an announcement. Shred Day is June 14th, 9 to noon. Tremendously popular item in town, so that'll be coming up. Mrs. McNabb, would you give us a update on the police search committee?
Absolutely. So the chief search committee met last week, and I'd just like to take a moment to thank everybody for their time and for being so efficient at that meeting. We're well on our way. We ended up updating the job description and the policies in that evening and deciding on a salary range. So the job description and the job itself is now posted and live. We already have 2 applicants, I believe. It is up on the village website. It is on Indeed, and it was shared on both LinkedIn and Facebook. Feel free to reach out and share that also. And we are meeting again this week on Wednesday to button up some interview questions and go over some other fun things with interviewing. And we, I think, are keep on marching. Good.
Questions for Julie? It is going good. Okay, thank you.
Real quick, just we were going to look for some outside sources. Did they all
For advertising?
for to be on the committee? Were we successful in securing?
Yes.
Yes.
So on the committee, Terry Grice, from Bank County Sheriff, Greg Loftus from Westfield Insurance. So, yeah.
Val, Terry, and Craig, do you have the project fact sheet, this 8.5 by 11 here?
Yes.
No, the 8.5 by 11. You guys have that? You might not have it.
I don't think they do. Tom.
Okay. There's two, you guys did that and that for Craig. And then, which means you probably don't have the other one. The other? Yeah, they have the big one. I want to have this one too.
Perfect.
There's two, and this one for Craig. All right, I give you these two short sheets before I hand you what the finance committee studied the finances, and we'll have a recommendation tonight for the items for the 2025 projects. But I wanted to go through a couple things with the three of you who weren't at that meeting. First of all, on the sheet, it says a project fact sheet up at the top there. If you look down at the bottom, to the left, you see the project budget for the whole slope project. And Terry, you don't need to leave for this. This is simply a financial thing. And over to the right, you see the way that breaks down, 109 last year, 34 and 50 this year is 84. 8410 and 146 697 next year. The point there is that it breaks down very nicely into three parts, that we're not stuck with it all in 1 year, so to speak. Now, if you go to the other sheet that I just handed you, please look at the year-end balances there. You see them going across 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. The point there is that we're up in the general fund from 2020, we are up $703,483. And our operating expenses are only up 126. So the point is we've earned the ability to buy some equipment this year. Okay. And so with that in mind, this is what we're proposing for this year. And what the bottom is extraneous, but miscellaneous, capital and street repairs, 50 each. Two accounts, 34, 310 and 50 for the slope. 10,000 for tree trimming and park circle, 6,000 for the ball field crown, 32.5 for the sewer plant drive, because we're splitting that. We will split that with EPA. It's a $65,000 project. 12.5 for the cameras, 12,000 for the police car, because we got a $50,000 grant. 10,000 for updating crosswalk painting and that kind of thing. 25,000 for a gator, replace one of the gators, and 12,000 for the village furnace, which is 304,310, and then the sewer or the BPA would pick it up 44,100. So that's what came out of finance committee tonight, based on how well we've done financially, and in terms of hanging on, so to speak. So, but until the township passes a fire levy, we're going to continue in a holding pattern in terms of doing things more aggressively, I guess I would say. We have to continue to watch ourselves. But now, in looking at that, particularly the three people who weren't at the finance committee meeting, how are you with that list? I mean, is there something you feel is missing, something you feel there is needed? Time now is to talk. If there's anything else.
My initial reaction is that we have $700,000 and you guys have elected, and I applaud you for the fact that you in essence have said we're only going to use 50% of that for projects. And we're trying to eat it all up. Still have a little bit of a rainy day fund, which in essence would cover if the fire department was able to pay for, it was able to pass a levy, we would still be in position.
Our
Actually, Vic, the one thing you want to look at is the year-end balances from 24 to 25. I mean, it really doesn't change that much. I mean, it actually goes up a little bit.
Okay.
and next year, the estimate, I think Debbie was saying was, didn't you say 124 next estimate next year, or was that, you were talking about? You weren't estimating next year, or this year, or 25.
25
I thought you were estimating 25.
about flat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right
about
now, we're-
flat.
We're
Yeah.
we're gonna be able to do
With
$300,000 worth of projects and
And
then
still,
basically have a year-end balance about the same as we have at the end of this year.
Okay.
That's with like a 5% estimated increase on expenses, operating expenses.
some things that, some other things came up, like the wonky path in the northeast area. I don't know how that looks to you, Dave, but there was some concern about it giving on. If you look at next year, we've got the Park Bridge on there to probably do that next year. Any of these items this year pose any difficulty for you, Dave, to get
No.
done? Or anything?
Not at all.
Can I have a motion to approve this list? Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other new business?
Mayor, I'll jump in real quick. I'm
Sure
ready to
thing.
do it Now or when I have my time. Mr. Robbs had requested the park committee take a look at the signs. I'm not sure what Val got out there, but I've got notes on all the signage we've got. I would tell you that I think we don't need to do anything immediately, other than we need maybe a good power wash on a number of the signs. The posts I found are in disrepair in a couple of them, and I'll gladly share my notes with Dave from that standpoint, but I'll put it in more a little longer version for you.
These are the city limit signs.
These are city limit, yeah,
Welcome
city
to
limit
Westfield.
signs, be they North Leroy, North Westfield, Greenwich. So actually, the one that appears to be in really good shape is the one out on the eastern one at the country club. But I think that maybe it was the sturdiest, but I think it's the one that got run over, right? And we had to put back up.
No, that one was down on Westfield Road.
Is that Westfield Road? Okay. But so have initiated that, at least looking at them, and then we'll get, I want to sit with Dave, or at least have some conversation with Dave and let him make the final determination on them. So mine was more like what I would refer to as a grocery store inspection, just kind of ran by, checked the bread, squeezed it, see how it was.
Okay.
Val. Any additional comment?
No,
Okay,
I didn't think, I mean, some of us needed help, and I was pretty decent.
so, yeah, I don't know if we need a, I don't think it's gonna be an item that we're gonna have to add from a big expense for 2025, and I think we can look at what we may need to do specifically in 26.
Okay. Any other new business? Engineers report.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add, besides the Greenwich Slope project is the grant for the patrol car, the appropriations package for that is scheduled for vote on March 14th. So hopefully that passes and we'll have access after that. That's the only news I have.
Finance committee meeting. A couple of things that, one was, extending a grant to extend that walk path through around the other 5 acres of the park. I think it's 5 acres over there.
Okay.
The thinking was that we can't get money for upkeep, but we probably possibly could for new activity, which would be a new walk path. What else was there? There was something else you brought, Joe. Was there something else you?
So in the city meeting that I was in earlier today, they mentioned a grant that might be available through the AARP for park benches. And I didn't know if that was something that we could look at because some of our park benches need some help. The woodpeckers have destroyed them.
This would be like replacing existing?
Yes.
You know about how many units?
Do not, we haven't gone down that road yet.
I'll look into that. I don't know that off the top of my head, but
Dave, you familiar with any of that in the park? What is it? Woodpeckers?
Actually, it's squirrels.
Is it squirrels? Okay.
Squirrels, okay.
I was guessing it was a woodpecker.
So regarding the walk path extension, I assume I should work with the Parks Committee on that. I know there's a Nature Works source, but that's come around like right now, like it's due March or April. If I remember correctly, so should
I think we talked about
Yeah.
waiting until we get Greenwich Road done.
Okay.
Last thing we want to do is apply for a grant, get a grant, and then have all of our eggs tied up over here, until we get that project well underway.
Okay.
Because the last thing we want to do is turn away grant money.
Do you know what the funding parameters are?
What the parameters are? They usually ask for like, you know what, I don't want to even say because I could be wrong, I know they changed, but it's in anywhere from like 50 to 150,000.
One of the things, I'm just throwing this out for
Future reference consideration, if we're gonna go for a grant to
extend the walking trail
go through the existing 5 acres of finished park. We should determine whether or not it makes sense to continue it through the new 40-acre parcel,
which would be the wooded path we talked about when we acquired the O'Neill property through the Conservancy, and we would have to work with them on laying it out because there can't be any tree removal or that type of thing. But my point is, if there's going to be grant money available, we may as well look at getting it all done.
Yeah, this is an annual thing. So. As we get our ducks in a row, put it
phases if necessary.
Sure. Yeah, that's what we did. The improvements, spaced it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of the Conservancy, they sent us an email, and I should have had it here tonight, and I was just looking, I can't find it here. But I'll see that you get that email.
I can, forward it. I got it up. I don't have it handy either, but I can forward. It's the one that Debbie, is that the one you
But
forwarded to me?
You all should see that, because they walk 43 acres. And they have comments. Nothing earth shaking, but they talk about the encroachments.
So those have not been mitigated.
But they don't, they say it's okay.
The things they were talking about were like existing compost piles. So an existing compost pile doesn't need to be removed, moving a pile of dirt from
You
one
don't
spot
need
to
make
another.
People move them.
But people can't be adding to the compost piles. That would cause a problem. So those are the nature of the comments. That's one of the ones that's on top of my head, but
Those are answers to questions we asked.
Pardon me?
Those were answers to questions that we actually posed to her when she came out.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Were there
Didn't realize that.
any issues with,
So you walked around with her?
Yes.
Oh,
were there any, did you find fire pits and lawn furniture and things like that exist?
Most of what we've located has already been taken care of.
Sure.
no
We've got-
sheds.
We got
Yeah.
and without a $6,000 drone.
you got 50 homes backed up into that. I mean, if we had 2 or 3 violations, I'm not supporting that. I'm speaking of reality, would tell you though, that if people were used to doing that, they would hope that they would probably try to see if they could continue to do that. Or at least get it right to the boundary line, right?
Right.
So in your opinion, Dave, there's no need, going back to the letter we sent in August to all the residents, there's no need to follow up with any particular residents.
No, not unless we see something that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Anything else for Jason? Police Department.
The report for January. We had 3 reports, 6 calls for service, and 1 officer initiated call for a total of 7. We had no crashes in the village. We had 17 officer generated citizens assists, 41 vacation watches. We had 8 assists to the Westfield Fire, 3 to the Sheriff's Office, 2 to the Seville Police Department, and 1 to Lodi, for a total of 14. We had 9 traffic stops, no criminal arrests, 9 warnings, no citations.
Questions for the chief?
It may be cleared now, but earlier this afternoon, they were working on what appeared to be a flipped over semi on the ramp onto 71 North, and I just wonder how we know about that, and if there's a way that we could, how we would make our residents aware of that. If any of them wanted to go north, I guess they would have needed to gone to south. And
How would we put out a? I was unaware of the crash today. I could look into that, but I'm not really sure how we would address that to the.
If we thought it was important, I believe we have a whole string of email addresses.
We have about 350 email addresses.
50, we could, if it was something we really felt we needed to, yeah. We could do that much.
Yeah.
Put it on the next.
EMA has a reverse 911.
I don't know.
I don't know if you can narrow that down to a smaller.
Can, but I don't know if.
The Everett Bridge system.
I think that's
Right, but
what
I'm not sure if I understand your question, I'm not sure that avoiding a traffic hazard would constitute qualified to put something like that out. To tag on to what you mentioned about the email, maybe in the next sewer bill or newsletter, we ask residents if they'd like to voluntarily list an email address that should we have a traffic incident in that interchange that, we could.
or any situation that the information.
Right, that you could put out a mass email. That might be the best solution for a non-emergency type situation.
Saw the situation today and I thought, how can we be good servants to the citizens from that standpoint?
Other questions for the chief? Fire department.
Monthly activity report for January, we had a total of 54 runs. 28 to the township, 17 to the village, 6 to Seville, 2 to Lodi, and 1 to Liverpool Township. And yes, that is a run. That was a hazardous materials call out at a complex up in Valley City, and the Medina County All Hazards team is made up of members from every department throughout the county. So if one of your members goes, it does get assigned a run number. So it's not like we took a fire truck up there in an ambulance or anything like that. But so yeah, it was a busy month in the village for January. 41 of the calls were during day shift from 8 A to 8 P, and 13 were at night from 8 P to 8 A. Again, we gave mutual aid 9 times, received it only twice. And then not much for department updates for January. We billed out a total of $18,684 in EMS billing money. Nothing for cost recovery, which is our accidents. We had 23 resident transports, 8 non-resident transports, and 1 mutual aid non-resident transports. Any questions on this report? I did also provide, there's a lot there, the 2024 year-end report for each of you to review. If you have any questions, I can definitely answer them at the next meeting. But basically a lot of that was just a click and print, so of our year-end numbers and everything, so. And Terry, your question about the accident, I've often, we try to post things as they become available, or we know we're gonna be there the whole incident. It makes it easy. This incident, we did get called out for. It was a semi carrying stamped auto parts. The driver was uninjured, so we weren't needed any longer. So we could post something like that, but then it'd be tough to keep up on how long the wreckers, I know they're still out there right now, but I don't wanna make a post and, you know, somebody complaining like, hey, you could have let us know it was open at 3 o'clock in the morning. That required me to basically babysit. So we do try to make posts on social media as they become available. I know ODOT did do a Facebook post about it. Whether that probably doesn't help right away, but I know they try to keep up on that stuff, so.
I was intentionally listening to like 3WE and a couple other radio stations moving around, knowing that they gave traffic, and sometimes they'll say, even though they're doing Cleveland, they're saying, well, in Canton, Route 224 is closed, or 82 is closed, or something like that, and they didn't even comment. So.
And then I think it was just a few days ago, or maybe last week, there was another rollover out there that we never even knew about. I saw it in the Gazette and I was like, I guess there was a accident and we never get called to it, so.
Yeah, and the Gazette, keeping us up to date.
Nothing against the media, it was kind of a surprise, so that's, again, like if we ever get trees down or what, when we're there the whole duration, we try to make a Facebook post and update it continuously, but anything out on the interstate can be somewhat challenging to know when it might be back open.
Good point, and it's not in our jurisdiction, I really say that.
And we definitely like to try to let folks know too, so. But.
Gee, did we get this, back on the 7th?
No.
We requested this.
Yeah, no, we did
I just
not.
noticed that it was prepared on the 6th and I wondered.
Yeah, no, it wasn't quite ready at the time, but yeah, no, you did not, sorry. And then the last thing is our grants are status quo, they're starting to open up, so we'll be applying for several more grants for State Fire Marshal's Equipment Grant, EMS grants, etc. So that's all I have, unless the council has anything for me.
We don't want him to think badly of us.
I did, and I told him it's a wonderful publication.
Well, I wasn't sure about your tone of voice. Just checking in. Okay. All right. Village Superintendent's report.
January's report, we processed 5.01 million gallons of wastewater, filed the monthly EPA reports, performed all the operational and required testing, and performed all the routine equipment maintenance. Here at Village Hall, we worked on a lighting system and repaired the post office furnace. The streets was salted, plowed as needed. We continue to do equipment maintenance. Had no activity at the cemetery, parks, or with zoning.
Okay. Questions for Dave?
Something that we could do to plow the walking path in the park with the gator or something. I just know a lot of the residents use it and mulching on top of it with the, if it could just get plowed, it doesn't even need to be salted. With the,
They talked about that originally when the path went in, and council at that time decided not to, because it's going to create an icing situation where we scrape the snow off if we don't salt it. And then somebody, slips and gets hurt because of something that we did or didn't do, and they directed me at that time not to do anything with it. Can it be done? Yes, but we'd have to purchase a plow for the gator to do it.
Any other questions for Dave? Anything else? Mayor's report. Nothing in mayor's court, no communications or concerns. Law director.
Not having anything to report. Sorry, once they have it. Give the chair.
Oh, don't scare me like that.
Actually, there is one thing, we've got over the next 2 days, we have some hearings for some stragglers on the tax filings. So the hearings are scheduled for, a couple of them are set for tomorrow, a couple of them are set for Friday or for Thursday. So we'll be following up on those, but Debbie and Chrissy have done a great job of kind of initiating that and getting a lot of those filings in. So we sent, I would call it kind of a final notice type of a documentation saying appear here or else. And so we'll see what the turnout is from that. It's really difficult to know at this point how many of those people are, I would say active evaders and how many are just more situational. So we'll have some conversations about those and next steps that seem to be appropriate based on what we get or don't get. But I think we're down to, did you say maybe 6 people we haven't gotten filings from?
6.
So that's a pretty good count, pretty good percentage.
That's a good number.
Yeah, we're in the top 1% of all communities at 6%, I'd say.
6%.
I mean, at 6, yeah, 6, yeah. Which is probably 2%, right?
All right, anything else?
That's all I've got, but we'll see how those go tomorrow and we'll report back. So.
Council comments and concerns. Mr. Benner,
I have none.
Ms. Kunick.
Similar to Julie's comment about snow plowing the park, I received a text message from a resident really late this afternoon about the fire department and whether or not the fire department would snow plow or snow the sidewalks, because people who walk up there, everybody who lives there, they shovel their sidewalks, but the fire department is, and they asked whether I could ask that council if that's something that could be done.
There he is.
But I don't know if it's the same issue that you're in.
And it may have historically been the same type of an issue where you say that if you're doing it negligently, you're opening yourself up to liability. I mean, you do have a responsibility to keep it clear once you start clearing.
We, as a village, we've never cleared sidewalks.
And I won't.
Well, we
Other
have,
than village property.
not in a lot of years, have we required people. Yes, we used to even require people. We don't do that.
Meaning,
What you can't do is-
but you're talking about your own sidewalks, I think, right? You're saying you don't clean the village property sidewalks.
Or we do.
No, I'm saying the village has never cleared sidewalks on private property.
Gotcha. Now that would be a different story. I'm thinking more to village owned property
No.
where, okay.
And I'm speaking,
For example, we as a village are not gonna do the sidewalks in front of the firehouse.
No.
That's private property, that's not our property.
There's something that the fire department can do.
We can
discretion.
try our best. That's a lot to shovel. I mean, we have a gator, but we don't have a plow for it yet. And ironically, Dave Young and I just talked about that not too long ago. We're like, I wonder if the village has like an ordinance like some cities do that, you know, you're responsible to maintain. You know, because I noticed the dentist office was nice and clear, it's salted. I'll do whatever it takes, you know, to
According
make
to
it
state of
safe.
Ohio, since like the nineties, I think it was, they passed a law that does not hold a homeowner liable for a slip and fall due to winter ice and snow on their property. And since that time, people have been sometimes advised not to shovel their walks or to be aware that doing so can exacerbate the slipperiness as opposed to just leaving it snow.
Once you clear them, you've got to continue to clear them to keep them.
Now you're creating an expectation that
Yep.
you're going to
Yep.
maintain it safe. So that's just something I offer to keep in the back of your mind.
So you're suggesting nobody anywhere, the shovel.
No, I'm just saying that that is a reason why you
No,
cannot see
It's a
many,
catch, it's a catch
many
22.
walks shovel.
And if it is, and if that has been the historic policy of the village for village property, that, you know, I think that's appropriate to keep that in place. I mean, that's to Dave's point about the park too, so.
That's disappointing. I get it, but it's an amenity that we all use. And I've seen other parks go down Hinckley, guess what? They plow all the way through Hinckley and
And you see it in other cities where they do plow sidewalks. So it is certainly not a uniform standard that everybody interprets the same way. But if that's the logic behind it, that,
Sounds like a lot of work for attorneys to me.
yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Anything else? Phil?
I'm done.
Okay. Mrs. McNabb, Mr. Oaks, Mr. Robs, Mr. Walker. Next regular meeting is Tuesday, March 4th. Can I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Thank you.
Not much to share.